Yes, yes. Welcome to Conversations of the Heart. It is your boy T.Till. Hope everybody had a good day, good evening, good morning, just an overall good day. George, what up, bro? So today we're gonna be getting into, an array of different topics with my boy, my brother Sam, and of Sam's Vision Photography. Gonna be talking about entrepreneurship, manhood, faith, relationships, marriage, things like that. So we're gonna be getting into a lot of just different things, man. So looking forward for him to tapping in and having this type of conversation. There he is, Sam's Vision Photography. Just gonna wait for you to tap in there, brother. There he is. My brother,
What's up? What's up?
what's going on with you?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing, brother?
Good, good, good. Shout out to Nikki on the check-in. Nikki, what's going on? How's school? Um, so first off, man, I appreciate you doing this, man. It's been a long time coming. um,
I know. I
you
know. I
know,
know.
but all that matters is that you're here today, um,
Right.
to
Right.
really
Right.
kind of have this conversation, man, surrounding manhood, fatherhood, entrepreneurship, so first, just want to say again, thank you, bro. You are one of the most stand-up brothers that I know. And we need more guys like us to really sit down at the table to have this type of conversation. So, there's nobody better than you to have this type of conversation, brother. So definitely appreciate you doing this, brother. Thank you.
Anytime. Anytime. Thank you.
So, let's start here. You are a photographer, um,
Yeah.
Sam's Vision Photography, right? And
Mhm.
I've known you for a long time, and the one thing that I see, uh, um, in your business is the difference between you and a lot of photographers is like you're actually called to do this work. Um, there's a lot of photographers out there, you know that, right?
Right. Hmm.
But you have a different type of love and a passion, excuse me, a different type of love and a passion for this work. So
Right.
what I want to know is, how did you start? And when did you
Mhm.
realize that it was like a real passion of yours? Like, when did you say, yo, I really want to do this work?
Well, in my family, growing up, my father was the one that took all the pictures of the family. Me, my sister, my cousins,
Hmm.
and where he go, he had a camera with him. I got my first camera from my mom's when I was young, a little
Hmm.
yellow camera after I graduated from like elementary school. Um,
Right.
Fast forward, we got into the cell phones, and I remember hanging out with you,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
had I had my Galaxy phone, right? I had my Galaxy
All
phone.
day.
Everybody was going crazy on the iPhones and stuff, and
Hmm.
I had a different different software mechanism I was using, taking pictures, dim light, and they came out looking fantastic. So
Hmm.
since then, I've been like the go-to guy every time I go out. Yo, Sam, send me the pictures. I'm like, yo, I got you.
I
Send
know.
them
I
out.
know.
People post them out. Everybody's raving about it. So I was like, oh, yo,
Hmm.
this is dope. Then
Hmm.
fast forward, my wife, she gave me my first real DSLR camera because I was really
Mm.
into like taking pictures. So it was my
Shout out to the
first
wife.
camera. Shout out to the wife, right?
Hmm.
Never knew how
Hmm.
to use this thing. I'm like, oh man, this is great. Like I was excited. I was going on YouTube. I was looking up books. I was going on the web. I was going crazy trying to figure out how to use it. Cause I didn't want to just use it in regular, auto mode. I was like, got some other little buttons on here. We'll try this out.
Yep, yep.
So trying testing it out, to taking pictures of the family, family and friends, go out, and I really started to like have a passion for it. Cause I'm like, yo, if anybody else can do it, I know I can do it. And I started getting to the lenses and stuff like that. And finding out what
Mm-hmm.
works here, what works for me, and after that, everything just kind of just sort off. It was just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said,
So
and thank God for you, because I mean, you were one that told me about the business part of it. You know what I mean? So talks
yeah,
with you and stuff that resonated a long way with me, man. So yeah, I was thinking of we were thinking of the
definitely.
name. Remember, I was thinking of the name we should call my business. And I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I was like, yo. I remember I had one. It was called S. Dot. It was a S. Dot Cox Photography, but someone must have had that
Mm-hmm.
logo already. And then I had
Mm-hmm.
to sit and think real hard. I'm like, well, this is my vision, Sam's vision. Hey, here we go. And
I mean, I gotta say,
yo,
I thought it was an amazing name because,
yeah,
like, you have to have the vision to take photography. Like, you have to have
yeah,
that type of eye, right? For the lens, for the
exactly.
people and stuff like that. So, um, yeah. Shout out to D. She's in the building. My boy Vance. What's up,
Yeah,
man? So, so transitioning from saying, you know what, I'm going to take pictures for some fam and your friends and stuff like that. How did you
right.
just then transition it to, you know what, I'm gonna start charging. I'm gonna make this a real business. I want people to take me seriously. Like what was that transition like for you?
The transition was in the growth of my photography. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I seen the growth. I had a portfolio of how I was when I started to
Mm-hmm.
at a certain point where I was at then. I'm like, yo, these are really good. And not only me seeing it, other people seeing my
Mm-hmm.
growth and telling me, yo, these are like professional shots, bro. Like, what's good? You know what I
100.
mean? And
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
work went around. People started asking me, like, yo, how much you charge to do this?
Mm-hmm.
How much you charge to do that? And from
Mm-hmm.
there, man, it flourished. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm. Dope.
after that, I was like,
And
yo,
mm-hmm.
gotta do
Yeah,
it.
no, man, because you're absolutely right. Like, starting off, like, you weren't always the guy taking pictures. Like, we'd be in the club, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Just out there chilling, having fun. And everybody be like, yo, Sam, take the pictures. Sam, take the pictures.
Yo,
Um,
for
and that
real.
was before, the businessman. And you would always love to just take the pictures. You would go
Right.
home and try to edit it and lighten it and do all those
Yep.
things, and that was just
Exactly.
off the cell. And that was just off the cell phone, but it's one thing, like you said, to take it and have a hobby versus taking it, having a hobby, and now turning it into a business. Because once people
Right.
start paying for things, now they look at things differently, right? So it goes from, oh,
Right.
that's a cool pic to like, oh, wait, like, and they start critiquing your work a lot differently once you're paying for it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Exactly. Exactly.
um, so and that brings me to just kind of like operating in your purpose. I see that like you love this work, like you love
Right.
photography, like it oozes who you are, like you love it. I
Yeah.
always could compare it to, like, there are people who are nurses, right?
Right.
And then there are people who are nurses. Like,
Right.
there are people who love to be nursing, like they're in the nursing industry, they in the field, they love it, they love people, and it's like whenever
Right.
you go in to see him in the hospital, it's like, man, like you feel good about, what I mean, like, it's not a good being in the hospital, but it's like, man, that nurse was amazing, like
Yeah.
makes your
Exactly.
stay a lot better, right?
A lot better.
Versus
Exactly.
versus the nurse that is there for a check,
Just there for a check. Exactly.
and you know how they treat you, so
Hmm.
um so that's the difference, you know what I mean? Like, you actually love this work, like you love what it is that you do.
Right.
So how important is it to you to operate in your purpose? Like how did that manifest? Like, within you, to say, man, like, this is my purpose. This is what I was called to do. We know that you like it. We know that you're talented and you're good at it. But how did you know that, like, this was your purpose in life?
Man, I tell you this. Every time I think about my purpose or feel like shine away, for some odd reason, I get a
Mm-hmm.
call, I get a text out of the
Mm-hmm.
blue, like
Yep.
something that is just out of the ordinary. You're like, wait a minute. Are you talking to me this way? This is what it is. I,
Mm.
and it's more than 5 times that happened to me, man. It's just I'm like, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So and I love people. I'm a people person. So it's like,
That is true.
personality, what I do, it just mesh perfectly well. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
yeah, it's just
Yeah, man. And it's funny that you say that is because it's similar. Like when I was doing this show, I started this podcast, I started this show. Um,
right,
you know, and even just the work I do outside of that coaching and stuff like that. There have been countless times where I was like, man, I could do something else. I could probably, um, just kind of just call it quits and just, I'll be all right. You know what I mean? Like, even though I
right.
love this work, there are times where it's just like, man,
Hmm.
and the same thing would happen to me that would happen to you. I get a text, I
Hmm.
get a call
Yep.
saying, yo, listen, yo, that last show you did, it touched my life in different ways. And I'm like,
Hmm.
all
Yeah.
right, like, I got you. I
Hmm.
understand. Like, and those are the things that sometimes, um, it kind of keeps you going, man, because, like, yo, like after the first episode, I always tell the story. The first episode of this show, I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not doing it. I'm done. I'm finished. Cause, on the human side of you, you want to see like all of the likes and you want to see all of the views go sky high
Right.
immediately,
Right.
immediately, right? So I
Right.
think I had like 10 or something like that, and I was just like, ah, man, like you know what? People don't need this. Like we're good. I could just call it a day and just leave it. And then I got a DM from one of my boys, and he was just saying like, yo, like this is amazing, changed his life. Like, just a lot of just different things and how he was motivated by this time. And I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
be patient. And it's not about how many. It's about who you're impacting, whether it's one or a
Right.
thousand. It doesn't matter. As long as you're impacting something. And then I also
Right.
realized that after this is over, you post the videos, you post the live itself, and then you realize hundreds of people are going back and
Right.
rewatching it
Watching it.
they couldn't they couldn't catch the live at like 6 o'clock. Maybe they got home at 7:30 from work, so they'll come
Exactly.
back home and then they'll watch and then they'll hit me up and stuff like that. And I was just like, you know
Yeah.
what, T?
Hmm.
Sometimes you could be a little bit impatient, and sometimes, you know what I mean, you gotta chill because
Yeah.
this is what you do. Because
Right.
this is what you do. I was just like, all right, cool.
Hmm.
Um, so I got time for yo D. The podcast, actually, it's in podcast form. It's actually on Anchor. I kind of just ripped up a lot of the audio from here and I created an audio podcast via Anchor that goes out to Google Podcasts and other various different podcasts and Spotify already. So yeah, I mean, after COVID though, after this whole thing is over, it's gonna be go time, on some official stuff. But that's something that we can talk about offline though. Um,
Exactly.
um, so so let's kind of switch gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about faith. So especially within manhood, right?
Right.
There's one thing I do know about you. You've been through a lot of things in life. Lot of good things, a lot
Hmm.
of adversity,
Right.
as well. You know, but the one thing that has always stood out to me about you is you've always been a man of faith. You've always been a man to stand by, what you believe,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And that operates in your manhood, as far as just being a man and your walking everyday life as a man. So talk to me about kind of how that started, how that, is so prevalent in your life and why do you do it? Like how do you sustain that throughout everything that you go through?
Well, like I said in the beginning, like I've been raised in the church, so my mama
Yeah, me too.
every Sunday
Hmm.
I'm at the church.
Every Sunday.
I
Hmm.
was in church every week. Come to think about it, it was
Hmm.
Sunday When I got
Mm-hmm.
older, I went with her on Tuesday night Bible class. On Wednesday, we had prayer. Thursday
I
was like the
know,
only
bro.
day we wasn't at church. Friday, we had worship service. And then every other Saturday was like I was in the choir. So my whole
Mm-hmm.
life growing up was in church. You know, it's instilled in me since I was a baby. So normally, you know, when you get older, you kind of like stray away from the faith and stuff like that. Even if I wanted to stray away
Mm-hmm.
from the faith, I couldn't. You know what I mean? Because it was a part of me. You know what I mean? And
Right.
you know, you look at stuff for yourself and you read the Bible for yourself, and then God reveals Himself to you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and let you know that He's real, and
Yeah.
put my faith in. I pray. You know, when I'm going through stuff. When I'm not going through stuff, I pray. You know,
Right.
and I just
Right.
thank God every day for like just life, health, strength, um, being a dad, patience. You know what I mean? Being a
Woo.
husband. You know, same thing. You know, just asking God to keep harmony, love, and peace all around me. You know, and every morning before I leave, even when I will drop my kids off to the daycare, you know, I say a prayer, you know, for safety, because with all the stuff that's going on around in this world, it's just completely chaotic to me. You know what I mean? Depending
Mm-hmm.
from how it was years ago. You know what I mean? You
Yo.
think you're moving forward to a better outlook on life, and every time you turn on the news or you look on Facebook, look on Instagram, you just see nothing but this devastation. It just depresses you, especially when
Yeah.
this whole COVID thing came on. Oh my gosh, when COVID came initially, I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Like it was heartbreaking. It was hurtful. Keep hearing people
Mm-hmm.
passing away, people were sick,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
with all of that fear pumping out, no matter
Yeah.
what you look at, it's just nothing but fear. That's all you feel is just fear. I had to sit down, man. There was times where I had to turn off the regular hip hop and R&B and rap and listen to some gospel just to clear my spirit out and pray and read. And when you read God's word, He reveals Himself to you, and He will show you the scriptures to go to. And that right there was just confident in itself, and it's just amazing, just doing that. And I will share what I read, and I would share, you know, with my family, my friends, and they'd be like, "Yo, this came right on time. I needed this. Like, wow, thank you." And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Don't thank me, thank God." You know what I mean? He's the one that
Yeah.
gave you the scripture to go to. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
know when in troubled times, I know who to turn to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The Father of all fathers. You know, the God of this world, the God who created us, who knows all about us. You know what I mean? He knows you in, He
Mm-hmm.
knows you out. So if I don't have an answer for any of my friends when they going through something, what I tell you, best thing you do
Mm-hmm.
is just take it to God, give it to Him,
Mm-hmm.
pour your heart out like you pour your heart out to your friends when you're going through something. And yo, listen, He's an on-time God, so whenever you need Him,
Yeah.
He's right there. You know what I mean? So
Yes, sir.
my faith is strong, and my mom's always been that way. My father always been that way. You know, even now. So I don't worry
Yeah,
too
man.
much. I'm trying to worry too much, man, because just worrying will make you sick. You know what I mean? And
It's a killer.
it's a killer. So the best thing to do is just be stress free as much as possible. You know?
Right.
So
You know, like we have kind of parallel lives with how we were raised.
hmm
Um, you know, same thing. I grew up in the church. I felt like I lived there. I felt like I should have had some stock in the church. I felt like, you
for
know,
real.
I, I lived there. You know, my
hmm
mother, true, same as yours. You know,
Yeah.
raised me there. And you know, you go into prayer service, you go into the Sunday morning service, then you go to the Sunday night service, then you're in the Wednesday night service, and then you're in Sunday school, and then you're in the junior choir, the dance team, and
Yeah.
all this stuff. Like
hmm
it was, you know, it's like you know, you're in school
Yeah.
between school and church.
The
I say,
church.
yo, can I go see my friends?
Yo, for real.
You know what I mean? Like, can I go see? Can I just can I get a little bit of time to myself? You
I
know,
know. I know.
and have some fun. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
yo, but and then on top of that, I was home Bible school too. My mother home Bible schooled me. I had to
Yeah.
take, you know, take tests on Scantron. Like I would go to school and take tests on Scantron, then go Saturday taking tests on Scantron. You know,
Wow.
for Bible school. You know, on a Saturday. You know,
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, taking tests all the time, you're reading, you're studying, and all those things. But the funny thing is, even through all those things, man, it's different tests.
Yeah,
Especially like when you get older,
yeah,
as an adult, those tests get very different. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Than when you were
Hmm.
a kid. And for some kids, you know what I'm saying? So
Right,
some kids go through a lot of things like when they're younger for sure.
right,
But I think, but for me, it's like the test got a lot different.
right.
Um, you know what I mean? And things test your faith.
Yes.
Oh, they test your faith, right?
Hmm.
But that was the one thing that I always admired about you is that you were always 10 toes down in your faith, no matter what you was going through. And it didn't matter what it was, what it looked like, what the doctor said, what this person said. No
Yep.
matter what, like you were always still very firm in your faith, and that's something I always admired about you, man. So definitely, definitely wanted to salute you with that, bro. And just encouraging, other men, you know what I'm saying,
Right,
to stand 10 toes down in what you believe in. You know what I'm
right,
saying? We're not saying, what to believe in. You know what I'm saying? You believe
right,
what you believe. Other people believe what they believe, but just
right,
stand 10 toes down in your faith. You know
right,
what I'm saying? As men, I think that's super, very, very much important, man. So so with that, now you transition. Now you're married. You got two beautiful kids. Let's talk about it. Fatherhood.
right.
Um, so what does that mean to you? You have a beautiful daughter, my goddaughter. And a handsome son that looks just like you.
Yeah.
I mean,
My twin.
no, no, he looks just like you. You can never deny him in court. You could never deny him in the street.
Nah, I
It's
can't deny it.
that is
Can't.
it. I've
Can't.
never seen anything like it. I've never seen nothing like it. That is your twin. So that one for sure you stuck. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do about that.
Yep.
Nothing. Um. So as far as fatherhood, man, like what has fatherhood meant to you?
Oh man, fatherhood is wow. It's amazing. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's deep. It's like the love level is just is totally different from anything you ever experienced, man. Like when my
Mm,
daughter first came, I was just like, wow, like this
daddy's little girl.
tiny little baby just in my little arm, man. Like she just and just the love and care, man. I just want to give her the world. Just want to
Mm-hmm.
give them the world. Just want to give them everything you want. Just want to give them the world. Just let them know that you don't have to search for no other love outside of daddy's love.
Word. Yeah, you know it. Don't get it twisted. Yeah. Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
That's my heart. My kids are my heart, man. And as much love I can give them, while they here and while I'm breathing, they gonna get it. Whether it's gonna be tough
Mm-hmm.
love, because you gotta give them tough love. Gotta mix it up. And the love that they need. Let them know that, you notice them, you see them, you acknowledge
Mm-hmm.
them, talk with them, ask them how their day was, feed them, clothe them, let them know, like, look, whatever you need, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And just making sure that you can be that person to provide them with whatever they need, whether it's mental, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's spiritual, with love, just oozes out automatically.
Mm-hmm.
It's nowhere else to explain it. It's just like God love, like God loves His children. I love God, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's no
Mm-hmm.
greater love than that, man. It's like I'll do anything for him, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
So, and that I know,
mm,
100%. But how important is it, that as a man,
hmm
that you're not only just bringing home money, like and you're not just like you're doing all those things. You're bringing home money. You're doing all the
right,
stuff. You're making sure that there's clothes, clothes, food on the table.
yeah,
We know that. But
right.
how important also, is it for you to be present?
Oh, very,
Like
very much,
really present in their lives.
yeah, very, very, very much so. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't be that parent that always gone. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
growing up, you'd be like, oh yeah, I see my dad. You come in, go to work, and then I don't see him no more. Like, no, I sit down and We'll have our time together, whether it's both of
Mm-hmm.
them together or one on one, however it is. That's how it's very important. Because like me growing up, I have both parents in my life. Unfortunately,
Yes,
they
me too.
wasn't together.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
I was with my mom for most of the time. On the weekends, it's daddy and Sunday. We had our
Mm-hmm.
time together. So I had the best of both worlds, just not in the same household. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah,
me
yeah.
growing up, my pops is more on me about schoolwork. My mom is more on me about, church. You know what I mean? Making sure I'm going the right path. My
Yeah.
dad was more about family and getting a job and holding down your own and being there. So he's like, see how I'm here for you? I want you to be there. You're going to be there for your kids the same way I'm here for you. Because my father
Mm.
didn't have a father that was there for him. So he knows what it's like to not have one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So with
Mm-hmm.
all of that I'm seeing, growing up, seeing, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be there for my kids. You know what I mean? I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what other people are doing around me. I'm going to be there for mine. So
Mm-hmm.
that's basically,
Wow.
yeah.
That's definitely powerful. So
Yeah.
so what advice? So what advice like would you give? Let's just say somebody, a guy, he's in his 20s or something like that, and he comes to you and he goes, Sam, you know, I'm about to have a kid, either unexpected or expected or whatever.
Hmm.
And he's a little scared. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's shook.
Right.
Because having a kid is having a kid, it's no joke. People think it's, it's this grand, it's this grand thing, right? See, like, people really, is that Mia? Yeah. Is
It's
that Mia?
both of them. Yeah, Joshua.
Oh,
All right. Hey, Daddy's busy right now.
Where's mommy?
I don't know. She should be downstairs with you guys.
yeah. Fatherhood right there.
Yeah.
Fatherhood right there. Live. We
Yeah.
get live right there.
Live.
You know, so I always feel like people have this thing with parenthood, right? That it's
Mm.
more of a fad or like it's more of a social thing than it is that people sometimes really, really know what it takes, truly know what it takes, right? To
Right.
really be, parents. It's like the thing to do or it's the thing to have, because you want to be looked at a certain way,
Mm.
because I feel like a lot of people feel like if they don't have kids,
Go with
then
mommy.
they're looked at,
Go with mommy.
especially women. Like I feel like sometimes it's a lot of pressure for you to have children, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
sometimes you end up in a bad situation because you have all this pressure, you know what I mean, from people, from family, from society.
Mm.
When you're gonna have my grandkids, when you're gonna have my niece, nephew, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And then there's a value component too. Like, you're not a woman if you don't have children, if you don't bear kids. And I'm staunchly against that because
Yeah.
having kids is not for everybody. People
Exactly.
think it's just something to do, and then you just have a bunch of kids, and then you don't take care of your kids, right? Um,
Exactly.
so so that sometimes to me is very important to tell people too. Like, listen,
Yeah.
it's not a fad. It's not something
It's
that you
not.
do. Like, really think about if you want
What's
kids, and
happening?
if you
Why
do
don't
not.
Hey.
Edwin? Hello?
All right. Leave it alone. Go with mommy.
Yeah, and you gotta let people know too. If you and like if you
What,
don't want
Dad?
kids.
Go with mommy. Go with mommy. Go watch TV. Go watch TV.
Well, mommy.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all good, man.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to let people know that if you don't want kids, that's okay
It's
too.
okay.
And there's
Definitely okay.
nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
make you less than, like, it doesn't
Exactly.
make you less of a person. And I think it's very sometimes intrusive when people ask these questions, especially to women. So when you're gonna have, a kid, and it's like you don't even know
Yeah.
if they're trying to have children. Like they
Right.
could be trying
Right.
and having a bunch of miscarriages and losing the child over and over again, right?
Right.
Now, how insensitive is that for you to keep asking those questions,
hmm Yeah. You
right?
got people gotta be
Like, yeah,
mindful. People don't think. They just talk. They don't think about, well, maybe I shouldn't ask that. You know what I mean? Or,
hmm
you don't know. You don't know what people are going through. You
yeah.
don't know what they're struggling with. So certain things you just keep at bay, and if it happens, it happens.
hmm So the question was like, what would you tell somebody who is a young man who's a little bit shook, scared about having a kid, but he's having a kid? He
Mm-hmm.
comes to Sam, bro, like, I'm scared. Do you have any advice for me? Like, what would you tell a kid like that, or a young man like that?
Man, it's for one, it's just like it's gonna be all right. You know, it's gonna be all right. Just my biggest advice is just be there. Just
Mm,
be the dad you can be. Be the dad you probably never had. You know what I mean? And just be
mm,
there. You know.
mm,
So even if that person is not even with the person anymore, just be there for the child. You know what I mean? Do what you can. You know,
mm,
show your face. You know what I mean? Show that you care. You know what I mean? And remember, that's your
mm,
seed. That's your seed right there. You know what I mean?
mm,
So all you gotta do is just love it, nourish it, and it'll love you right back.
mm.
You
Man, that's
know?
great.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like there's just a lot of the reason I wanted to talk about fatherhood and stuff is just because I feel like for us men a lot of times there's a lot of broken homes and things like that, and
Hmm.
it doesn't matter whose fault it was, but it always it falls on the child. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you getting along with her, she's getting along with you, you guys bigger. It's like the only person that we're hurting at the end of the day is
Yep.
the
It's a
child.
child. Exactly.
And so I know a lot of men, especially sometimes they're just more there for financial support and things like that, and that's all well and good there too. But it's also just your presence
Yeah.
is necessary. Your presence
Right.
is needed. Your daughter needs to feel love from her father. Your son, your
Yeah.
son needs a father figure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and just don't use kids as pawns either. That happens a lot
Oh
too.
man.
I'm gonna hold the kid from you and stuff like that.
Nah.
You know, I think the purpose is really trying to create better communities, heal our homes,
Yeah.
and even if you're not together with the person, at least you can co-parent the right way,
Right.
so that the child isn't affected. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, a lot of times now, if the child is affected, and then they grow up, and also in our community, there's a stigma on therapy. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that, to where
Yeah.
it's just like now there's a lot of trauma that has happened to the child from young, and now they grow up and are told that they shouldn't go to counseling. You know what I'm saying? Or that they
Right.
shouldn't go get help. You know what I mean? Just things that they need to even just get a release. You
Right.
know, and so that's kind of where I just wanted to just kind of bring that home. About fatherhood and just parenthood, and who better than you? Look, I don't have kids,
Yeah.
so but I was raised by both of my parents, and I
Right.
do know the importance of having your mom there, having your father there,
Right.
right? And just being in that positive situation. So I think it's imperative that we have these conversations within our community too.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
so definitely, man. So with that, I kind of want to just take it to about brotherhood and expression. Um, Men, there's a lot of ego. You know, we don't like to talk about a lot of things. I mean,
Right.
not you and me, but you know, we all have friends, and a lot of times, it's machoism. You know, I
Yeah.
don't want to talk to T about. I don't want to talk to T about my relationship problems. I don't want to talk to him about, whatever I'm going through, because I'm a man, I have to man up. That's what I was taught to do. I was taught to man up. I was taught to hold everything inside. You
Mm.
know, so I always thought that, you know, we always had a great bond to where, we could talk about anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It could be about relationships, it could be about fun stuff, but it's not just about the fun stuff. We could
Right.
talk about various different subjects that we both have gone through. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I remember meeting up with you um on Jamaica Avenue.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, like,
Yeah.
bruh. Like, I
Yeah.
remember vividly, like
Yeah.
like
Vividly. Exactly.
just going through. I remember you,
Right.
going through,
Right.
just having certain conversations as men.
Right.
And I always felt like, that was important. Um, because as brothers, it's like it's important that we let our other brothers know, like, yo, like we're here to talk and not just about BS.
Right.
We can talk BS. We will talk BS, but
Right.
also, we got to be here for the other side of it. Like if you're going through real stuff, it's very
Right.
important that we're here.
Yeah.
And to be open to that and to be open to expression and that type of vulnerability, I
Mm-hmm.
think, is key because vulnerability is power. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And the sooner that you tap into that vulnerability is the sooner you'll get to release it, like to release what has been binding you and to reclaim your power.
Right.
Right. And so, I just always thought that, what, like for us, like we really got to get, kind of turn the tables of what manhood looks like and what brotherhood looks like. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Because everything is feminized.
Yeah.
Like if I'm talking to you about relationship problems or health or whatever it is, it's like,
Right.
oh, he's talking too much. He's acting like a girl, or
Yeah.
that's feminine.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But it's like, no, like, dog. Sometimes
Right.
I need to talk.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I'm going through, and there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that. I shouldn't have to hold it inside. I shouldn't have to say, oh, I can't talk about that stuff. But there's a lot of that goes on, and that's why there's a high suicide rate in men.
Right.
Like there's a high suicide rate in men,
Yeah.
and not everything. And you being brought up kind of similar to where to where I was. A lot of the things are very like keep things to the chest, like take it to God 24/7, right? Like it was
Right.
like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what happens in this house stays in this house
Change
type
his
of
house.
thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those things have done our community a disservice. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you should take it to God. Not saying that you shouldn't. Obviously, you should.
Right.
But there's something about being able to go to your brother, like, and
Right.
say, yo, and like, I just need a night, like, to just go out or whatever the case is, or I gotta hop on a call, you
Mm-hmm.
know, after taking it to God, I still need that I still need
Yeah.
this.
That human interaction.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like I still
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's not right that we have a lot of men that don't do that and aren't comfortable doing that because they were never given the permission to do so.
Right.
That was always a feminine thing. Oh, girls do that.
Mm-hmm.
Girls have girl talk and stuff like that. So it was always put like, oh, girl talk, and it's only for women. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But to me, you know, um, but because I remember those moments, bro. Like, you understand? I remember all of it. You know what I'm saying? Where, where I go through certain things in life, and life gets hard. Like life gets downright disgusting. Let's keep it in
Yeah.
100.
Yeah.
And you don't got nobody to talk to. And it's
Yeah.
like sometimes, like your wife is cool, like your girl's cool, or your wife is cool. But what if you don't have a wife? What if you don't have a girl?
Right.
Right? Like we're not born married. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
to develop those relationships and those brotherhoods to say, yo, I can go to my brother for this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I know it, at least at nothing else, even if he doesn't give me advice, I know he's there to listen.
To listen. Exactly.
Um, so, just how important do you think that is for men in manhood?
That, that's very important. If you think about it, when you go to a therapist, what you doing? You're talking to somebody about
Mm-hmm.
what you're going through, and they're sitting there, they're listening, they're jotting down the notes of what you're going through, and if they could give you advice, they will. But the
And a
most of the
plan.
time, all you're doing is exactly in the plan. But most of what you're doing, you're talking out what's bothering you. You're going to the
Mm-hmm.
most innermost depths of what the root is. You know what I mean? So to have
Mm-hmm.
someone on the fly, you can be like, you know what, man, got somebody to talk to. Let me call a T right quick. Like I'll go into something right quick, and just have somebody to talk to. That's very good. It's not feminist at all. Why do you think the rate of women live longer? Because they always have somebody to talk to. They have girl things that they do together. They go to the spa, they go to the
Mm-hmm.
salon, and they talk. They talk whatever issues they're going through. Us guys, we have the barbershops, but
Yeah,
how
the
often
barbershop talk. Yeah.
how often you gonna really talk about stuff that's really bothering you? It's mostly, BS, of course. But to
Yeah.
have someone, like I said, like a brother that you can talk
Mm-hmm.
to, you don't have to be a lot of people, you can one or two, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and knowing that they're gonna be able to listen to you, sit down. give you a good 20, 30 minutes. And sometimes that person might have advice and problems. The person might have nothing to say at the moment, but just
Mm-hmm.
know that someone that has a listening ear, that releases the pressure and whatever you're going through, the weight is lifted a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can sleep easier,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And just having someone just to be, knowing someone's in your corner isn't very much important. You know what I mean? Like, you know what? I do have somebody I can go to if I'm going through something. I know somebody going to hear me out if I'm feeling a
Right.
way about something like that. Because all that stuff built up inside, man, just makes you sick. And then mental
Oof.
illness is a whole nother level
Whole
because
nother, bro.
you don't know how long that person been holding stuff in. And they feel there's no
Years.
way to get out but to do that. End it all. You know what I mean? Because you know why? They feel like no one cares enough to listen to them. They feel like they're not worthy enough to have someone to talk to. And they don't know where to turn or how to even come out to say what's on their mind. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
having someone to be able to be there for you and to listen to you, you know, is very much imperative. It's very much something that should be practiced between the brothers. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with you on that. It's very, very much important.
Yeah, man. Because especially when in your 20s, and it's like, I wasn't thinking about, counseling a lot of times in my 20s. I was, that to me, that was more for like, in my 30s. Like, I was like, okay, counseling, but in my 20s, I know, like, if I was going through something, I was like, I know who I can call,
Hmm.
but sometimes people don't have that option, or
Right.
they don't know that they have that option, right? So a lot of times is they have years worth of built up anger or
Yeah.
sadness or sadness.
Hmm.
People grieve different things every day. People think grief is just for death. And it's like,
No.
no, grief could be daily, every single day.
Every
And
day.
if you and a lot of times our kids go through trauma at a young age, and then they go from kids to young adults to adults carrying those generations, those decades
No trauma.
of trauma,
Hmm.
and then you're 30 years old with 25 years worth of built up trauma. And then you're
Yeah.
wondering why, like, now you turn into different vices and, and then, contemplating, different things in your head. It could be suicide, or alcoholism or drug abuse and things like that,
Yeah.
and that, and so, and if somebody were to have somebody to say, hey, bro, yo, I'm here, and that's why it's so important that we keep up with each other too, because sometimes
Yeah.
people don't want to reach out, right? They kind of want to stay in their little cocoon and just kind of just stay to
Yeah.
their thoughts. But then when you get a message from somebody, like you said, a message the other day, like, and bro, I'm thinking about you and all that stuff,
Right.
and that type of stuff can save a life.
Yeah.
That type of stuff can say, like, oh man, like if I'm going through something, it's like, oh man, like, man, you know what?
Mm.
This is what I needed. Like this right here was right on time. And me and you do the same thing. I always try
Yep.
to, like, hit my guys up sometimes, or my friends in general with just some good messages, or just, hey
Right.
bro, I'm just thinking about you, bro. Yo, stay up. You know what I'm saying? And that in itself could open up dialogue too.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important, man, for us to, to continue to build that bridge
I
with each other.
got tablet.
I
I
know
got
I'm appreciative.
tablet.
Okay. Go pay the tablet. Go pay the tablet. Yeah. Take a tablet. Yeah. Take
No, I want it.
it. All right. So go ahead. Watch this.
I don't want it. um, So, I think it's always just super important for us to continue to build those bridges with each other, man. And I know for me, it's something that I've always appreciated about our friendship, about our
Right.
brotherhood. It's just I could always pick up the phone for anything and say, yo, Sam, bro, like blah 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 blah. I am
Right.
done.
Right.
And I know Sam gonna listen and he not gonna judge me.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
and that's another thing, not saying that you can talk to everybody, but you got to
Right.
know who you can
Who
talk
you talk
to,
to?
um,
Exactly.
with no judgment, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Just to even let it out. It's like I said, and it's funny, it just sticks in my mind, Jamaica Avenue.
Yeah.
Um, we had a lot of talks over there, brother.
Oh yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
um, so pivoting to, so let's talk a little bit about relationships and marriage, man. You've been in the game. Well, you locked down. What, 5 years already?
5 years. 5 years.
You
August.
got
August 1st.
5 on it. All right, you got 5 on it there, brother.
Yeah.
So so before we get to the marriage part, you're like, as far as relationships go,
Hmm.
what do you think are some key pointers or key advice, to people who are actually actively in relationships? Like, what would you say, do you think makes a successful relationship? Now we know everybody's different, but like,
Right.
what are just some of like the core values of what you believe um makes a good
So,
marriage?
what I believe makes a good marriage or a good relationship in general is just remembering that it's not all about you. You know, that's one.
Hmm. Hmm.
Basically, you're supposed to be like one hand watches the other. Like
Hmm.
you caring for the other person as much as the other person is caring about you, and
Right.
not just like in physical, but also mentally. You know what I mean? Like making sure you're mentally there. Both
Hmm.
both of y'all have to work towards making sure you know, everyone's good. I think that plays a major role. Just compatibility, not wasting no one's time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Talking about the future, of course, that stuff is important because
Hmm.
you don't want to be in a relationship and not know where it's going. You know what I mean? Like, hey,
Hmm.
finding out, how they grow up too. You know what I mean? That plays a part. Like,
Woo!
how was you growing up? How was life? Growing up. You know, finding out that's also very important. So that way you know how to, if you think about having kids, in the
Yeah.
future, how you're going to raise your kids, and what
Hmm.
faith is going to raise the kids in, schooling, everything plays a part, but I think the best thing in being in a relationship is being best friends. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think if you start off as being best friends and not just waiting to hit the sack right away, I think a lot of things will evolve a lot better, you know,
Hmm.
for that couple, finding
Right.
out what each other like, compatibility, what makes each other laugh, cry, because you think about it, your best friend, what bothers your best friend, right? Like
Hmm.
certain look or certain attitude, or, you learn everything. Favorite color,
Hmm.
food, allergies, all that stuff is important, man. Health, all that's important. If you can do things with your best friend, your best friend be the perfect person to be a mate with. So I
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
for me, that's what it was for me. You know what I mean? My
Hmm.
wife is my best
Hmm.
friend before we even thought about, everything we doing now. You know. Of course, I was like, I
Uh-huh.
think she's very attractive. Of course,
Yeah, tell the truth
Yeah,
or shame the devil. Tell the truth, brother.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. Yeah,
um,
very.
yeah, I think it's like we we obviously know that we have to be attracted to the person and things like that,
Right.
obviously. But like you definitely hit some key pointers and what to look for, before kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Right.
D said, "Are either of you considering starting some sort of group or forum for men?"
Mm.
Um, I mean, I'm not sure. Um, but it could be an idea. Could be an
Yeah.
idea.
Yep.
Maybe a little collaboration. Sam's vision, T.Till. I mean, man,
Yeah.
we could, we might could do something. Um,
Exactly.
it could be something to do. Um,
Yep.
what's funny about that? I'm gonna pause the relationship stuff real quick. But it's funny about that is because you know it's kind of sad. Like, it always saddens me. Like whenever I would go do speaking engagements for men,
Hmm.
um, like the attendance is so low, right? Whenever I do a speaking engagement for women, dog, the room is filled.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
they all about it. Like they all about that self help. They all about that motivation. They all
Yeah.
about that 110%.
Yeah.
I remember I did one. I was in Queens and I did one, and they had one for men at the same time, and then they had one for women. So I come in there, I'm hyped. I'm doing the one for men.
Yeah.
I woke up in that room. It's like 10 guys in that room.
Oh,
I just happened to peek next door. I gotta have like 60 people, 60 women in that room screaming. "Ah, yeah." I was just like,
yeah. Yeah.
ah.
Yeah.
But that goes to show you kind of what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, um, because that they, a lot of times self-help and that stuff feels like, oh, it's all about, it's feminist, but it's like, yo, it's not, it's not,
No.
not everything,
Yeah, not everything.
needs
Not
to be
everything.
feminized. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And if more of us took the opportunities to do those things, then our communities will be better. We'll have
Yeah.
better mental health, things like that. So as far as, all right, so we got the relationship. So so that was some of your keys for a relationship. So let's now transition. So you got through a relationship, cool. Now here's the big dog. Here's the marriage part. You're 5 years in, you got 5 on it already. So what has been kind of like your best practices for a healthy marriage? Like what do you think it takes to
Communication.
have a healthy marriage?
Communication, man. You gotta communicate. I think that's you have to communicate. If you don't communicate, you don't know what the other person is thinking. You know? And no one is a mind reader, you know. She can't read my mind, I can't read hers. And we can read body language, but communication is definitely
Oh,
key.
Sam, I see you, Sam. All right, Sam. All right. You can read this body language. Okay, all right. We're going to leave it at that, player. All right.
Nah, but for real though, but communication is definitely key. But I heard about it, time and time again, from preachers to people that have been going to the seminars, and that's the number one thing is communication. You got to communicate with your spouse. Like you communicate with anyone else, you got to communicate with your spouse. Simple things. It's like asking, "How was your day?" You know, you know what that does? If I hear somebody ask me, "How was your day?" Like, wow, you really cared about my day? Like, okay, let me tell you how my day was. And just having that person there to listen. The same thing we're talking about with the brothers. It's very essential. It's very essential to a healthy relationship with anyone. It's just communication. The more you communicate, the better everything kind of like runs smoothly. And just learning also not talking at the person also. That's another thing too. So there's a lot of things that goes hand in hand. Communicating, learning how to talk to your significant other, learning to have patience with your significant other, just showing you care and showing that you're there, and you're not just listening and go one ear and go out the other. Like action has to go behind that, as well. A lot of times we're not perfect. A lot of times we don't do it, but when you can fix it, fix it. Whatever the issue may be. Especially if you have an argument. Some people have arguments and stuff, and they just go on and on. Sometimes it's best to just shut up and just let the other person talk. Let them vent. And most of the time, it's probably not even about you. It's about what they was going through that day. So they got all this pent up aggression of what someone did to them at work, whatever may have you, and they just need to talk it out. So, just being patient, just talking, communicating, and letting the other person know that you love them, that you're still here. It should come easy.
And
I said these things are supposed to come easy.
It absolutely is supposed to come easy. You're 2,000% correct. And if it doesn't, it got real problems.
Yeah.
So D said, yes, communication is big. So is comprehension. D, that is a word.
Yeah.
That is a word from the Lord. That is a word from the Lord.
Yeah.
Comprehension is definitely huge. Whew, that was a good one too, D.
Yeah.
I gotta have you back on, D. We gotta have this talk too. But no, man. I definitely like what you said, that these things are supposed to be easy. Marriage, not per se, is going to be easy,
right.
but these things are essential and are supposed to be easy.
Right.
To provide a foundation so that when things really get hard,
right,
like when it really hits the fan, then you have the solid foundation. You have the tools equipped. You know what I'm saying? Everything, you have the weapons to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I definitely, appreciate, all the gems, brother, that you dropping.
No problem.
D said, I'm taking notes.
All right.
D said, I'm taking notes. And she's taking notes. in her journal, her Choose Path Wellness Journal, that is available on Amazon. That's all I'm gonna say. Go check that out. You know what I'm saying? Go, Choose Path Wellness.
Come on, guys, leave.
Amazing journal. I know she's probably writing in that as we speak. Shout out DJ Teddy Grams in the building.
All right, all
Yeah,
right.
man. So with all that said, you got your entrepreneur thing going. You out here married. You got kids. Like, you're operating in purpose. You're operating in all of these important aspects.
Right.
Like what's next for you? Like what's next for Sam's vision? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know COVID kind of impacted a lot of photographers because
Yeah.
there's no events, right?
Yeah.
Like there's, I assume that's all gonna change
Yeah.
by next year, God willing.
Yeah.
And so first of all, tell the people how they can reach you.
Oh man.
How they can reach you to book you, and to see your.
Well, like I said, my Instagram page is open, it's public. Sam Vision Photography is right there. I'm working on my website now. I know we
Yes,
started
sir.
it,
Okay.
so I'm working on getting
Yes,
that.
sir.
I'm getting that up, so you guys can go in. Y'all can see my work full on. Also, you can actually go to on Facebook. My work is on there too. My business page, Sam Vision Photography, as well. So I have two platforms so far: Instagram, Facebook, and then my website fully is running. Definitely. You can find me on there too as well.
Yeah, man. I think people should definitely, if you have an event, please book this brother. Don't ask for no discounts, please. He's a black owned business.
Yeah.
He's doing some amazing things. He takes amazing pictures. I personally, and maybe I'm biased, but I think he's one of the best photographers in the whole tri-state. So definitely support this brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, he has a family to feed. Wife, two children. So like I said, no discounts. We're not doing that over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you book it, especially if you say I sent you, don't ask for not a discount. Just take his amazing work. It's gonna be quality.
Definitely.
And yeah, man. And so listen, brother. We're pretty much at the 1 hour mark. So is there any last bit of tidbit of advice for anybody out there that you want to give, man? The floor is yours.
Man, just like I said, just keep God first in everything we do. And as a brother, I'm here. I want to talk. So.
Yep. Listen, I appreciate you doing this again. I think, the people is going to get a lot out of this conversation. You dropped a lot of gems, as I always knew you would. I appreciate it, man. You are a king of the highest order. We celebrate you. We honor you, bro. Thank you for doing this, and can't wait to have you back on again, bro, so we can do this again and maybe work on some other things, bro.
All right, no problem.
All right, bro. Peace. Thank
All right,
y'all.
peace out.
Peace.